Chidi is someone, his name is Ezekiel Chidi Odiogo. I came to Bradford 2001. He came in 2002 for his master's in information technology, if I'm getting it right, or e-commerce. And he will share on that. He came in, and I remember, he's been to Ross Chapel of Grace before. Okay, so this is not his first time. His first time in this building. So he was with us at the Bolton Woods in 2009. I remember him giving us a lot of money. We were just about buying our bus then, our church, our very first van then. And he gave us a lot towards that van for us to purchase that church van at the beginning, 2009, yes. And this is the first time he's stepping on this auditorium. Once again, let's give him a Chapel of Grace welcome. Clap for Jesus. So, as per introduction, I will just give us a brief bio of who Chidi is. Again, is a valued friend, a very, very valued friend. He's one of my closest pals, if you want to say. All right? For those of us that are from Nigeria, he was the one that started your group, the Nigerian students group at the university. Okay? Though I was behind it, he was the first president of that group. They've changed the name. Then we started it as the Diaspora Association of the Nigerian Students. Now they call it some other names. So he was the very first person that chaired that group at the university. And that as per his other social. He was also a student representative member with the student union when he was here in Bradford. Summarily, beyond being he finished in Bradford, which is with a distinction in information, e-commerce, and all that. He will tell us more about that. He left here for LSC, for another master's MPhil. Finished that. He went to UNESCO as a fellow in UNESCO in Paris, France. Then he joined the African Development Bank, then the Asian Development Bank, went to the United Arab Emirates, that region. Then from there, he went back to ADB, then went to MIT for his EMBA. Okay? That's just summarily beyond so many Oxford and all that. I felt that it would be good for most of our young ones to see someone that was in Bradford and going up to the top. He's now in South Africa. He heads the African Investment Forum. Some $2 billion project, kind of. He will tell us more. Chidi, quickly, tell us who you are. I've just given a summary. Tell us who you are. Who is Chidi? Microphone, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello. Thank you very much, Pastor. It's really a privilege to be with you this morning. This is my first time in Bradford since I left, so I've been trying to scan the area to see if I remember the streets and the different signposts. No, but I mean, Pastor, you've said it all. I'm just, like they say, a Delta boy from Nigeria. I came to Bradford to do my master's, and that's where I met Pastor Akpo. He has not told you the full story, because the first stash and owo I ate in the UK was actually from his kitchen. So that's how far we've come. But I'm really, really happy to be in your midst today. I'm extremely grateful to God that I found the opportunity to actually fellowship with you. It's been a very troubling time for the whole world with the pandemic.
Just a minute. He's coming from Newcastle this morning. He drove 2 hours to be with us this morning.
Yeah. So,
clap for that.
I'm very privileged to actually fellowship with you this morning. And as the pastor said, I finished my master's from the Bradford University. There's a lot of story behind that as well. I currently work with the African Development Bank, and I'm also I live in the UK, but also in South Africa as well. But I want to thank you for giving me the honor to share this morning with you. And thank you, Pastor.
Tell us a bit of Bradford, then straight from after Bradford. Yes, tell us the story after Bradford. I know you made a distinction in Bradford, but just after Bradford, the next story to LSC. How did you get to LSC, to UNESCO, to MIT, to ADB, to the Asian Development Bank and ADB?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think one thing I would say, and this is to every student, everyone who is currently going through a process, particularly with schooling. I would say that you always have to keep your faith and dream alive. When I came to Bradford, I've always wanted to play on the global stage. Really didn't know what that meant or how I was going to get there. So I think if you're currently at your stage trying to figure things out, not very clear about how things will come up, it's okay. You're not alone. That's what I would say. But I think if you have God and you believe, you once you believe, you can see. I think you will always get there. And I say that from a sense of confidence and also a sense of purpose as well, because we all come to this world to fulfill a particular purpose. So, I mean, when I left Bradford, I went to the London School of Economics. I had a scholarship to go there. I've, like I said, always wanted to move my career forward. But many did not actually know that when I came to the UK, came to the UK from Nigeria, was working with Shell at the time. I landed in the country with £500 in my pocket. That was everything I had. That was my school fees, that was my feeding, that was everything. So when I actually spent the first £5 at Victoria Station in London, I started asking myself, is this journey? I mean, you just spend £5, and how are you going to? You have 495 yet. So, in a nutshell, I think if you have a purpose of what God has called you out to do, I would ask you to really believe in it. Do not worry about anything that is going around. It's all part of the process. And the success or little example that I've benefited to date is simply because I've always believed. And obviously, with faith and God, always moved on beyond looking at what is around me. So I really want to encourage everyone, because I've been in this city, I've been in that stage where you're figuring out what is the next point. But if you believe, you'll get there. I think that's something I would like to really leave strong in your heart.
Yeah, I will take one or two questions, because of the time, just one or two. So if you have one, just text it to us quickly, okay? Or put it on the chat. I just want to ask again, in Bradford, I mean, as friends, I know that you had struggles in paying school fees. And I had struggles because we came to Bradford not funded. We just came, like you said, with £500. That was everything. School fees and feeding and everything. That was life. So how did you manage through your time, in Bradford, the school fees and accommodation, feeding and everything? Just a bit of that, then we'll take one order.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor. I mean, everybody understands student life, right? So it is not a very easy road if you're self-funded. But I think what is very important is not to bury your head in the process. Um, um, I mean, obviously, I had to do two jobs, juggling. In fact, when you get to the class, you're coming from a job. and your blood is so warm, you're asking yourself, there's no time to sleep. But in a nutshell, I think it is really not to focus on the process, because the process has its own time, but to focus on the goal. I think if you focus on the goal, or whatever that goal is for you, um, and remove your consciousness from whatever you're going through now, I think you'll get there. In my time, I was actually even thrown out of the university. I mean, my keys to my accommodation was actually locked, so I was outside. And I remember, I need to find that lady actually, Maura Jackson. Is a very famous. Anyone who has been to the University of Bradford will know Maura Jackson. I'm calling her name from
In your
in my
time.
time, exactly, from a sense of respect. So she called me and said, "You know what, Ezekiel, I've looked at this. I'm not sure you can make this. I'm not sure you can. I think you should just withdraw or defer your your prospects." And I think she was saying it. I mean, looking back, she was saying it from every fact that is around. Um, but I think in response to that, I told her, you know what, Maura Jackson, before your eyes, I'm actually going to graduate from this university with the best results, but the same, I mean, in this current section. And now, when I said that, I have no clue. It was like hope against hope. But actually, it happened. And when it happened during the graduation, I actually went to her to say, Maura Jackson, I told you I was going to graduate, and now I have graduated. And I think that was my first convert from the. And I gave her a present,
Of a
exactly.
gospel CD.
Yes. And that was my first convert from the university itself, because she wasn't a believer at the time, but she now believed. So in a nutshell, whatever it is, I think if you have faith, faith is a very important thing. I mean, in the UK, anywhere in the world, your faith in God is absolutely key. And believe in your purpose. Once you're able to define that, whatever that is, never look back. I mean, things may shake around you, situations may happen around you, but if you stay focused and you stay calm and you have your belief in God, everything will come together. I think it's saying in due season, because if you know that thoughts for you are thoughts of good, then if you rest on that, you'll be fine. Thanks.
Good. I've got one question, and this will be the last one. Okay. So, what oppositions or obstacles did you face on your way to the top? You know, and how did you overcome them? Now you from Bradford to LSE to UNESCO to MIT, the USA, to Asian Development Bank, to African Development Bank, to now managing to the head of investment forum. You know, you are flying to job from South Africa to Cote d'Ivoire. You know, coming back based in South Africa. So how did you get to the top? What the obstacles and how did you overcome them?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. Very, very good question. I wish I can tell you that the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. But I can tell you that the higher you go, the more challenging, the more obstacles, the more devils that you have to overcome. But what is important is that your process builds your muscle. So if you look at your process as a way of building your faith, building your character, building your muscle, then you would see that it pays off as you move higher. So, I mean, I think beyond just the element of obviously you have to work hard, you have to be deliberate in what you plan to achieve. You have also integrity is very key. I know it's a sort of a cliche in our world, but integrity counts, because I think what people know you for, no matter what they say behind you, people will always ascribe you with that and say, no, this is who we think it is. But it doesn't mean that you will not face challenges. it doesn't mean that you will not face obstacles. And like I said, as you move higher, you have a higher, it's like a promotion. You are promoted to fight the bigger demons as you go higher. But because you're grounded, and grounding just in the Word of God, but also emotional intelligence is also very important, because there's so many things you learn from academics, but emotional intelligence is also very key as you move up. But you're being grounded in the Word of God actually helps in building your emotional intelligence, because it's not really now about them. It's about you and what God has called you to do. And no matter what the obstacle is, you would always navigate, and you would always be on top. But there would never a time where you're not facing any challenges, because the moment you don't face challenges, then you're not growing. So if you take a tree, for example, you plant a seed. That seed has to break loose from the ground. Then it then starts to grow and grow branches and all of that. That process is not an easy process. But the beauty of what you see outside is what's shaping your character, and it is also what is helping you to actually give impact to others. Because the whole essence of being blessed is not just for us, is to give, is to impact others. And if God has called you to impact others, which I think is called every one of us to do, then you know that your blessing is beyond you. Whatever you're doing is really beyond you. It is really that next person down the road, that neighbor behind, around you, that co-worker with you. And so you have to shine. You shine the light and be the message, even without being a preacher. You be the message just by the way you carry yourself, but also by the way you live your life. But I think that's really what I can say to
Thank you.
that.
Finally, I want to just share 1-2 minutes some light on this $2 or $1 billion project that you are overseeing now. Just tell us a bit to the novice that doesn't know about this project. How can you be overseeing a $2 or $1 billion? Just tell us briefly about it, sir.
No, actually, it's even more than that. So, the African Investment Forum. Now, I am the head of private sector investment operations. So, what that means in layman's language is that I help to crowd investments onto big projects across the continent in Africa. So, I think we started this forum with there was no precedent. There's no example. There's no, oh, it's done in Australia. Let's go and look at it. It's done in the US. Let's go and look at it. It's done. There was no example. So we started off from scratch, and we created something that was very global, which was acknowledged by the G7, which is the biggest economies of the world. And what we've been able to achieve is that I think when we started the first year, we were able to bring together deals or projects worth about 48 billion US dollars. We were able to get interest on those projects I think to the tune of about 38.7 billion. But these are in 2018. So 19, we even doubled that. We were able to get about 67 billion, crowding about 40.1 billion in investment interest. Now I say billion, it's like, but these are people's lives. These are people's economies across the continent, and also the impacts of the work that we do. So far we've closed deals worth about 3.1 billion now from the 2 billion. What it means is that we've been able to raise the financing, structure the deal, the projects, and close that financing for the different projects that are going on across the continent. So these may be your power projects. These are your roads, the M1, for example, in other parts of the continent. And what I would actually encourage the diaspora. I think this is an opportunity to actually speak to the diaspora. I think this is a very, very good time because beyond your immediate environment, the skill set that you have is extremely unique. and you can actually create value. So rather than looking at the next job, I think you should be really looking at how do I create a job. Entrepreneurship is very key in the UK and even outside the UK. And there are now many funds, many investment platforms that are welcoming the people in the diaspora, Africans in the diaspora, or even partnership with others to take advantage of the opportunities in the continent. So I really want to encourage us to open our minds. Don't look at your world from a very narrow prism of just surviving or going to Tesco and all of that. Really look at the world from a whole different perspective. And there is everything right in your hand that you can do that creates value for others. So if you even take your immediate environment in whatever country that you come from, there's something that you have which they don't have and that you can bring in and you can get funding to actually get that off the ground. So I would really encourage us to think big. And I see people from other climes. I was at the Islamic Development Bank actually. When I was there, I was the only Christian that was at the bank. It was 99.9% Muslim. So, but the challenges we face in the world is all common. It's not a Muslim challenge. It's not a Christian challenge. So it's all common. And I think whether you're from Pakistan or India or from the challenges, the human experience is the same. So, but you can be part of the solution. And I think that's what I want to leave and encourage every one of us, that you can be part of the solution. You've seen how things work. You can bring that value to your community, wherever that community is, whether in the UK or outside the UK. Thank you.
Let's clap. Let's clap for that.